All right, welcome to Fight Fix with Frankie Barca. I'm going to be wrapping up UFC 136, Maynard versus Edgar. In my opinion, I thought it was one of the best cards of the year so far, or the best card we're going to see probably for the rest of the year. Live from Houston, I'm going to go straight to the main card. Melvin Guillard, the young assassin, against Joe Lauzon. I've got to tell you, at 155, Melvin Guillard's a beast. And we're looking at moving into this fight. Joe Lauzon is one of those sneaky guys, you know, that's the kind of guy that he doesn't get as much press, as much airtime, or rightly or wrongly. But I just feel it's this kind of guy that is kind of underneath the radar at 155, but he's very, very dangerous, very skilled. Obviously got great jiu-jitsu and great hands and knockout power, but it seems to be under the radar. Well, Melvin Guillard, mate, he came out and he was amped, as we all saw. And that was just great to see someone with that much passion and enthusiasm for the sport coming out and just be so enthusiastic. But here's a classic example of what over-enthusiasm can do. I got a feeling that he came out, his hands were a little bit low for me. He barreled in really fast and quick. He landed some heavy shots, and Joe Lauzon was always ready for that. I mean, every fighter should be ready for that first 90-second burst, adrenaline dump at the outset of every fight. But Lauzon just sort of backed him up a little bit. He just took it on board. And then once Melvin Guillard sort of dropped his hands, lifted his chin a little bit, he was a little bit brash, I must admit, a little bit hasty. Well, Lauzon really was only a heavy jab. It wasn't even a hook. It was a heavy jab, and it hurt him and backed him up. And obviously, Joe Lauzon just swarmed on him and got it done. And let me tell you, that transition, when he took the back, couldn't cinch in the rear naked choke, and went palm to palm, flattened him out, and took it. Man, it was just beautiful. I love the way he cinched his hands up for that palm to palm, kind of like a short rear naked choke. Interesting concept. Usually palm to palm is exactly that, but Joe Lauzon kind of had it almost like a headlock from the back. It was kind of weird, but it worked. And man, what a great result for Joe Lauzon. Let me tell you, I think Melvin Guillard is going to take a lot out of this from this loss. I think he was a little bit pissed at himself. That he was a little bit over-enthusiastic and left his chin up a little too high. His hands were way too low. A bad combination in the end. So congratulations, Joe Lauzon. Beautiful performance, textbook. Went straight to basics, simple, effective, great jiu-jitsu, choked Melvin Guillard out. I'm shocked, man. I had Melvin Guillard all the way, but Joe Lauzon, man, what a great performance, and congrats to him. Nam fan, Leonard Garcia, well, what are we going to say? I have to agree with Joe Rogan on this one. Just an incredible fight. I mean, obviously, Nam fan was pretty pissed at the controversy of the last encounter, and I don't think Nam fan was going to be sitting back and waiting for that to happen or leave it too close to the judges to decide. The pace was cracking, as you know, it was incredible. I got a feeling, Nam fan, in my opinion, in that first round, I thought he did much better in that first round, really tagging Leonard Garcia early, body shots, beautiful round. Round two, Nam fan just landing some beautiful play strikes again in multiples of 3s and 4, really taking apart Leonard Garcia at this stage. And then, the fight was there for Garcia to lose, in my opinion. I think that he had to really start doing something because he was behind, as he mentioned in the interview, post-fight. But in that second round, Nam fan, started hurting Garcia with his trademark body shot and teeing off on Garcia at will at that point, and then Garcia comes out beautifully, just relentless from him, tagging Nam fan, dropping him, putting him on his ass, but just couldn't put him away. And man, you gotta love what Leonard Garcia brings to MMA. Just that raw swing for the fences, just all heart. I just loved it. And Leonard Garcia, he comes out in the first round. He's really disciplined. You can see he's really trying hard to keep together. But by the middle of the second round, I mean, it's all hanging out, and he's grunting as he's throwing down. It's just a beautiful thing, man. And getting tagged flush, what a chin. Just a great fight and an awesome result for Nam fan. Obviously, unanimous decision. I don't disagree at all. It was an unbelievable fight. And I could watch these guys scrap anytime. So whether they're scrapping against each other or against someone else, I'm looking forward to these boys fight again. So the result, Nam fan, unanimous decision. Another great fight for the ages, and one we're going to talk about for a long time. Moving along, Brian Stann, Chael Sonnen. Well, at 185, Brian Stann's really impressed me a lot. He's really being technical. He's really being direct, getting the job done, knockout power, submissions off his back. Awesome, really awesome. Well, round one, it wasn't to be. Chael Sonnen had, and you know what I really liked about Chael Sonnen in this fight? His attitude. He's always got something to say, sure, but he left it all in the cage, and that was everything he needed to say, up until the interview, of course, but which was shocking for me. But the fact that he got in there, Was very textbook, dominated the clinches, got the takedown, relentless pounding for 5 minutes, and then came out in the second round, dominated Brian Stann again, and continued to do that until he could, cinch in that arm triangle. Let me tell you, Brian Stann was doing everything by the book to try and stay out of that. But that transition by Chael Sonnen from the right flank, from his right flank to the left, with that double knee pass, taking notice of that, his head position and that that arm hanging around that the head and just cinching in that arm triangle. I mean, Eddie likes to teach it with that full track stance, arm triangle, cinching in knee on belly, the impaler as he calls it. But it's classic palm to palm, Brock Lesnar, Randy Couture style, arm triangle, and just cinched it out and squeezed it out. I mean, what a squeeze Chael Sonnen has. Honestly, it was just beautiful. And, who wouldn't be shocked at what he said? That's how determined he is that he's the best in this division. He's been saying for a long time he's the best middleweight ever. Whether you agree or not is irrelevant. The fact is that he's almost like a modern-day Muhammad Ali. He's almost convincing himself that he is the best. And you know what? It seems to be working for him. And calling Anderson Silva out, saying that he sucked was really brash and brave. Anderson Silva took it really well, and he saw the humorous side of it, which is great. But it wasn't funny in another. I mean, the tone of Chael Sonnen was direct, and he meant what he said. And when he said, "Look, if you lose, you're out. But if I lose, I'm out," and that was, you can't hold that against him for being that brash, that in your face, that honest, and willing to put it as the last fight of his career. Not that he said that, but, might just be that way. It was huge. And I don't think Dana's going to go for that at all. But the fact that he said it, said a lot, really did. And he can back it up, man. Look at the job he did on him the first time. In his classic opinion, Chael Sonnen talked about that, how can a guy lose 4.5 rounds and then win by wrapping your legs around another man's face? I mean, I thought that was hilarious. But, hey, a win's a win, and I support Anderson Silva that he did what he had to do to win, and it was amazing for jiu-jitsu. But Chael Sonnen, man, what a beast. He is the voice of UFC. There's no doubt about that. So, as far as the fighter's perspective goes. So, another great victory for Chael Sonnen. Looking forward to seeing him fight Anderson Silva if it happens on Super Bowl weekend. Anyway, now, co-main event. Jose Aldo against Kenny Florian at 145 for the title. Man, I got to say that Kenny Florian really, really impressed me. Look, 5 rounds, I mean, what a beating. I mean, he really took a beating, but you know what? He did really, really well. But you know what the difference, in my opinion, was? He looked really good when he was winning some of those exchanges. But when Jose Aldo was winning the exchanges, it looked like it was just dominant. He just dominated those exchanges. It was just another level of fighter. So you had one level of fighter doing great, and then when Jose Aldo unloaded, man, it was impressive. That combination, that inside leg kick, left, right, that just landed perfectly. All 3 strikes, that combination was just epitomized Jose Aldo, in my opinion. Just amazing. Look what he did to Uriah Faber. He spanked him. Put a clinic on Mark Hominick, in my opinion, and maybe gassed a little. And there was word had it that he was a little bit under the weather. Man, 5 rounds of Kenny Florian, man, I tell you. Kenny Florian's a stud. He really impressed me. I've got nothing but respect for Kenny Florian. I hope it's not the end of the road for him. Going from such a heavy weight class all the way down to 145 was just remarkable to me. Dominant performance by Jose Aldo. Obviously, unanimous decision victory there, and I don't dispute any rounds at all for that. But, man, what a chin, what heart, what great striking. I mean, Kenny Florian's gone from a BJJ black belt to an elite striker, and overall MMA talent that I feel is improving still as well. And just an awesome fight, and obviously a great result for Jose Aldo. I mean, man, he passed that test with flying colors again in the UFC. But I got to say, hasn't finished anyone in the UFC yet. But, man, just dominating performances. So, unbelievable. And, of course, for me, the fight of the year, in my opinion. Oh, no. The comeback. I reckon probably one of the greatest comebacks, in my opinion, that I've ever seen in the UFC. Frankie Edgar, man, I tell you. That boy just deserves everything he gets. I mean, look, to fight BJ Penn twice in 1 year, I mean, that's tough for anybody to imagine, let alone do, and he did it convincingly. For him to go out and have that rematch with Gray Maynard and draw, I don't disagree, I don't dispute the draw at all. The fact that he got smashed in that first round at Maynard.m4v 2 and came back in that second round and, was a scrap to the end was amazing. But to do what he did, and in my opinion, I thought he got hurt even more than the first fight. Honestly, that crunching shot to the chops that just put him on his ass, and another shot, cartwheeling over. Frankie Edgar, man. Just to have the composure, to still try and get to his feet, scramble, man. There was 2.5, 3 minutes left in that round. Gray Maynard is heavy-handed. Incredible, incredible. He did everything he could to win. Hanging in there, still touching Frankie Edgar. Frankie Edgar survives that first round. Comes out and starts evening up the match in round 2. Round 3, again, a really good scrap. Really starting to find his range. Round 4, really starting to put it on him. Gray Maynard landing good shots as well. Tough fight, let me tell you, in that fourth round. I couldn't believe it. In that last round, what he did, he hurt Maynard. He really played that game so well. He just dominated that round. He just did enough. He stayed in there. He stayed in striking range. He pushed the pace. Maynard starting to question his mind. I mean, I wonder what was going through his mind when Frankie started taking control of the fight. And when he landed that shot and put him up against the cage and dropped him and started landing bombs, man. Frankie Edgar, for me, what an incredible comeback. Man, I tell you. You know, what more could Gray Maynard do, really? What more can Gray Maynard do in that fight? Gray Maynard has got nothing to be disappointed, sure. To be really disturbed by his performance in some way, to make it feel that it was less than anything of amazing, to me would be a tragedy. Of course he's going to take it bad. You know, when you win in MMA, it's epic. When you lose, it's fucking depressing. It's terrible. And for Gray Maynard, he does not have to hang his head to be shameful about that performance at all. Frankie Edgar is just an incredible machine, incredible human being, incredible test of will, incredibly motivated and driven and hungry, and just an animal, in my opinion. Frankie Edgar, man, he's got to be one of the greatest 155ers ever. Has to be. And for me, overall, what an incredible card, honestly. There was some great fights in that card. The first fight of the night, I can't remember. The name escapes me. It was a great scrap. Callan or against Massimo. I can't remember the guy's name exactly. Don't hold it against me. But I really wasn't going to report on it. But I just actually watched it at the end of the pay-per-view. And it was just what a scrap. I mean, these guys were amazing. It was a great fight. Check it out. I can't remember. It was the first fight actually on the undercard. So on the prelims. So it was a great fight. It was worthy of being on the pay-per-view for sure. So check that fight out if you haven't done so already. Another great card. I just was super impressed with the whole card. Just incredible from start to finish. And Leonard Garcia, fan, of course. Charles Sonnen, great performance. Joe Luzon, incredible performance. Jose Aldo, textbook again. And also, Kenny Florian, amazing. Frankie Edgar, incredible. Gray Maynard, amazing as well. I mean, what a great card. Incredible. So anyway, I hope you loved it as much as I did. Again, check out, I think the end of the month, we've got 137 coming up. It's going to be huge GSP on that card as well. So, till then, thanks for watching. Please leave your comments below and keep punching.